Following on from expanding using simple brackets, we can then look at factorizing using the highest common factor. And the highest common factor, again, we can use the distributive law. Now if you look at this particular expression, AB plus AC, how do we turn that into something that looks like this again? Well, firstly, the question you have to ask yourself is, what is the factor, or what is common between these two terms, so AB and AC? Well, we can answer that by saying that the common term between those two, or the highest common factor between AB and AC, is the letter A. So after you find the highest common factor, what you need to do is just write that outside of the brackets and write a bracket there. And then we go back to our original equation or expression and go, what's AB divided by A? So if I divide AB by A, what's going to be left? A B. And if I divide AC by A, what's going to be left? Well, there's going to be a C left. So the key thing here is that when we're expanding, we need to associate that with multiplying, and when we're factorizing, it's most likely going to be a division when we find the highest common factor. So let's look at the first example. Now the first example here, I would like you to write down first, what is the highest common factor between all the terms that are here? So 4x and 16. What is the highest number that can go into 4x and 16? Well, if we have a look at all the factors, we actually end up with the number 4. The number 4 can go into 4x, and the number 4 can go into 16. Now what we need to do is we need to write down the equals, 4, and then brackets. Now where did I get this 4 from? It's pretty much just the highest common factor, and you write that in front of the brackets. Now we go through the divisions. What is 4x divided by 4? 4x divided by 4 is 1x. And what is the other side going to be? What is 16 divided by 4? It's going to be 4. Now this can also be written as 4x plus 4, because we don't usually write the 1 in front of the x. Now, again, I'd like you to pause this video first and give this next question a shot. I know it's a bit different than the example that we looked at, but still, I'd like you to look at what is the highest common factor. Alright, now that you've had a look at that, what is the highest letter, or what is the highest thing, what is the highest factor that is evident between x squared and minus 8x? So what is common between them? What common letter is between them? There is a common letter of x, because there's x times x here, and there's just 1x here. So if we look at what's common between them, it's just 1x. So now what we need to do is write that outside of the brackets, and then now we go, what is x squared divided by x? So x squared divided by x is just x, and I'm going to go minus because that sign there is minus. And what is 8x divided by x? 8x divided by x is 8. And so there we have our result. Now before I go on any further, it's important to recognize that the inverse of expanding is factorizing. So therefore the opposite of factorizing is expanding. One way you can check your answer is correct is by doing the reverse process. So what is x times x? X squared. And what is x times minus 8? Minus 8x. Therefore we know that our answer is correct. If we do it with this one as well, what is 4 times x? 4x, correct. And what is 4 times 4? 16, which means this answer is correct. It's important to double check your answers when you have a final solution. Now let's look at the next one, highest common factor. So let's look at these numbers first. Let's not even worry about the letters. You've got 56, you've got 24, and you've got 16. Now you need to go back to your times tables and you need to ask yourself, what is the highest number that can go into 56, 24, and 16? That number is not going to be 2, However, 2 does go into 56, 24, and 16. However, there's a bigger number that does go into all 3 of them. Once you've thought about that, the number is in fact 8. Now, let's have a look at the letters. Let's look at the A's now. So if we deal with the A's, how many A's does this have? This has 2 A's, this has 1 A, and this has 1 A. So therefore, if I was going to ask you what is common between all of them, what is common? There is a commonality of 1 particular A. Okay, so they all at least have 1 A between them. Now, if we look at the B's, we look at B, B, B. At least all of them have how many B's? Just 1. So once we find our highest common factor, what we do is we write it outside of the brackets. Okay, so we write it outside of the brackets and we start doing our divisions. Now, this might get a bit tricky, but you just need to take it step by step. Do the numbers first. What is 56 divided by 8? That will give us 7. Now, what is A squared divided by A? A. And what is B divided by B? That's just 1, so we can just leave it as it is. Now, I'm going to put a minus here because there's a minus sign here and there's no minus sign here, so the next sign will indeed be minus. What is 24 divided by 8? 24 divided by 8 will be 3. What is A divided by A? That's just 1, so it cancels out. And what is B squared divided by B? That will just give us 1B. Now the next step is the last term. What is 16 divided by 8? That is 2. And what is A divided by A? Nothing. Oh, well, 1, but it cancels out. And B divided by B cancels out. So therefore we just stuck with this. Now we need to double check our answer is correct by expanding again. What is 8 times 7? 56. What is A times A? A squared. And do we multiply that B with anything there? No, so we just tack it on. And the last step, the next step, sorry, is what is 8 times minus 3? That is minus 24. A times nothing there, it just tacks on. And B times B is B squared. And the last thing is this will give us 16AB. So therefore, we know our answer is correct. Now let's just look at this very last example. This is a good example, but I'd like you to pause this and have a look first. What is common between these two terms? And I reckon you'll be able to do it. Just follow the steps of putting it outside the brackets as soon as you find the highest common factor. Alright, so what is common between the first term and the second term? Well, the commonality between them is that n plus 1. So what do we do once we find the highest common factor? You write that outside the front. And what are you going to write on the inside? Well, if what is n plus 1, if I divide that by n plus 1, so let's just have a look. So I'm going to do mn plus 1, and I'm going to divide that by n plus 1. And so these two cancel out. So what am I left with here? I'm just left with an m. And the next side is going to be the exact same thing. I'm going to be left with just a 4. Okay, and we know that this answer should be correct once we expand it again using FOIL, but we'll look at that again next video.